dads to come over, talk to them to see if they would help me get this thing going. And so we took on the chore, and we did it in 6 weeks. And we got the bus up. The rubber was rotted. It was down on the wheels. All the glass was broken out of the windows. Bums were living in this bus. The windshield was broken out of it. It was a derelict, and still had the school bus seats in it and all that stuff. But these guys had been living in there. And anyway, we got it up, and we got it running. We moved it out of the lot, and we put it out behind the shop, and we went to work on it. And Joe Licklider, that was our sales manager at that time, and I pulled all the seats and the interior out of it and all that stuff, and just chucked all that stuff, pulled all the broken glass out and all that kind of stuff, got it down to bones, and we scrubbed the interior down, and we Zolatoned the interior of the whole thing, and got it all painted and clean on the inside. And then we converted it, and this was what we did first. We made some bunk areas, and we put and installed everything in it to put a bathroom in it. So we had a toilet, and we had a sink, and we had a shower in the bus, and we put that in there. And then we put in a little kitchenette area, a little dinette area in the bus and stuff. And anyway, when we got done with the interior conversion, it would sleep 11, and it had, like I say, a little kitchenette area and a little bathroom area and stuff. And then we went to work on the outside, and that was a huge chore because it needed paint and everything else. So I recruited my 2 sons, who at that time, God, I'm trying to remember, Bobby was probably around 17 or 18, maybe not that old. I don't think he was. I think he was about 15 or 16, and Matt was a couple years younger. And I put them to work with water and sandpaper and stuff, and we sanded the entire bus out, and spent about a weekend just doing nothing but sanding and working on it. And I got glass, and I installed new glass in all the side windows and stuff. And then I went to get a windshield for it, and I couldn't. It was a year too old, so I had to put a later model windshield in it. So I had to do a lot of surgery on the body to get the windshield installed and stuff like that, and took a little extra time and sweat and nervousness, and got it done, and then built the roof rack to go on the roof and all that stuff, and finished sanding it up, and one weekend painted the entire thing tan. And we did all this out behind the warehouse and the shop, just watered down the whole area and the alley and stuff, and shot it outside tan, put a lot of paint on it and stuff, and got that all done, and decided that it looked pretty drab. So Dave Roberts, that worked for us at the time, David taped off the SE Wing logo and did that all with masking tape, and I ran the spray gun and sprayed everything up and got the logos on it and stuff. Had one of our guys' wives did hand lettering. And then my boys and I camoed it. We camouflaged the whole thing with, I went and had some colors mixed up, and we just cut templates out of cardboard, and all irregular shapes, and desert camoed the whole thing, and everybody freaked when they saw it. It caught on, and everybody got all excited about it. We had a couple kids on that first tour that came over from Australia and New Zealand. So there were 2 places on the camouflage that if you looked right, you could see the camo outline of New Zealand, and you could see Australia, and then we put their names there, Tracy Kosakowski from Australia and stuff, and the kids, so the camouflage was more than just camouflage. There was a lot of stuff in there, and it was, and we just basically restored the damn thing. It wound up being what it was. We didn't have storage room on the roof for the wheels and all the odds and ends, and we put the box up there to carry that stuff, and it looked like a turret. So we put a cannon on it and did all that kind of stuff, and it even amazed us when we had a couple of the mothers come over, and the dinette table that you could pick up and store and fold the seats down to make 2 more sleeping areas, the dinette table had photographs all in it, and then we put the liquid, like resin, that stuff that we could pour on it, and made it look like a glass top table, but it was all resin in there with pictures and stuff. It was pretty cool. And it even surprised us when we got done how good it looked. It didn't have a dash in it either, by the way. I forgot to tell you that. Somebody, I don't know who, had swiped the dash out of the damn thing. So I had to make a fiberglass dash at the same time and get that in there and put the instruments in and all that stuff. It was a nightmare job, but anyway, we got it going, and it became legendary. It was quite a piece when it got done. It had a 540 cubic inch gas motor in it, and the amazing thing about it was that it was geared extremely high. So that sucker would roll on the highway at 85 like it wasn't even breathing hard. I mean, it was a fast bus, but it was also, it was prone to overheating. The cooling system wasn't the greatest on it, and stuff, particularly at 80 plus miles an hour, where it went a lot and stuff. And so it was prone to eat fan belts and a few other things. So it broke down a lot of times, but it made it across the country a couple times, and it went all over the place. I mean, we took it up to a lot of races in NorCal and the Pacific Northwest and stuff. And the bus, ultimately Scott, or I think it was Perry actually, that was legging it, coming back from a race in Northern California, and they blew it up on the Grapevine. And we had to have it towed all the way to Long Beach. And we parked it beside the building there in Paramount, and ultimately we needed to get it out of there. Scott had stored his motorcycle in it and a bunch of stuff. It must have been 1,000 trophies in it. There were boxes of trophies and stuff stored in it. We moved it over to a storage yard, and we paid for the storage for 6 or 8 months, and ultimately the storage yard owner came to us and wanted to know if we wanted to get rid of it. And we said, yeah. It's a shame too, because we could have rebuilt the engine, and it would have been, and probably done some work to fix the cooling system, and everything else on it worked fine, the tranny and all that kind of stuff. And it was just, from my personal point of view, it had been a heck of a lot of work, and I didn't care if it ever went another mile. And most of the kids kind of were burned out on it too. But today it probably would bring $1 zillion on eBay. I don't know. But anyway, that was the bus, and it went on tour, and the tour was very successful, and a lot of guys went on that tour. We rotated a lot of kids in and out of there on that tour. Some of them went for 2 or 3 weeks. Some of them went, a few of them went for the whole ride. Joe Licklider, that worked for us for the whole ride. Todd Huffman went for the whole ride. There were a few. I can't remember. I think Beckering was there the whole ride. They had all kinds of adventures. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, some of the bikes got a lot of miles on them, chasing parts when the thing broke down and stuff like that. But that's the story of the bus. It just was. It became famous. It got a lot of magazine copy, and Wizard used it as one of the pages in the calendar that year in their annual calendar. And it was more famous that year than our bikes were. And